Like the pine trees lining the winding road. I've got a name, I've got a name. Like the singing bird and the croaking toad. I've got a name, I've got a name.
Hi, this is Ben Hart. I'm going to talk to you today about how to figure out your calling in life. If you've been listening to me for any time at all, you know that I'm a big fan of following your passion in life. If at all possible, find a way to turn your hobby into your career. If you can make a living doing something that you really love doing, you will never work a day in your life because work will feel like play. I'm a writer. I also love politics. So I make a living by writing political advertisements. I also put together fundraising and marketing campaigns for charities and causes that I believe in. I treat my work like a game that I try to win, that I try to be the best in the world at. Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady found ways to make a great living by doing what they love doing. Bill Gates is the richest man in the world. But he did not set out with the goal of getting rich. He loves designing software. He's a software architect. He set out to be the best software designer in the world. Same idea with Steve Jobs. He had a passion for design and simplicity. Basically, Steve Jobs was an artist. He designed computers and handheld devices that were both beautiful and super simple to use. That was his passion. If you are among the best in the world at something, the money will pretty much just come in, almost on its own. You won't have to think about it very much. I'm a big believer in picking a skill and then striving to become the best in the world at it. Now, you might not actually succeed in becoming the best in the world at it, but if you are really serious about trying to become the best in the world at something, you will get very good at it. You will become world-class at the skill. Perhaps, for example, your passion is athletics. But let's say you're not a very good athlete. You can still become very involved in athletics. Perhaps as a sports agent, a sports writer, or as a coach, or perhaps as a maker of sports equipment. If you do what you love doing, life will always be like a game for you, not work. Life will be fun. Plus, it's very difficult, almost impossible, to become really good at something that you hate doing. So pick something that you love doing, or think you can learn to love doing, and become very good at that. Here's something else to keep in mind. One reason that people are unhappy in life and are not reaching their full potential is that they are a fish out of water. A fish is not going to be very good at things that tigers are good at, and tigers are not going to be very good at things that fish are good at. So one of the biggest reasons for lack of success in life is that people have been shoehorned into the wrong jobs and the wrong roles, or they have shoehorned themselves into the wrong role. A fish is great at swimming, but not very good at running through the jungle. Now I want to tell you about a great test that everyone should take that will help you maximize your potential in life and make you a whole lot happier. It's called the Colby Cognitive Test. Not cognitive, conative. Don't worry, I'd never heard that word either. The word is not important. You can take this test at Colby.com. Kolbe.com. Colby.com. It costs about $50 to take this test, but it's well worth it. And I don't make any money by recommending it. I'm just a big believer in this test and its underlying philosophy. The Colby test is not a personality test. It's not an IQ test. It's not an intelligence test. This test is designed to uncover what your instincts are, what your internal mode of operation is. Your instincts are not something that you can change. Sure, you can get control of them. You can force yourself to operate in a different way, but you will be very unhappy if you do that. I suppose a tiger could eat fruits and vegetables if he absolutely had no choice to avoid starvation, but the tiger will be very unhappy living that way. A tiger wants to eat raw meat. That's because a tiger is a tiger, not a giraffe. So what the Colby test does is tell you what your instincts are, what your internal mode of operation is. Specifically, what the test measures is how you go about solving problems. And it breaks down your mode of operation, your MO, into 4 basic categories. The first category is what the test calls a quick start person. Quick start. Most quick start people just want to dive right into the activity, whether they know what they're doing or not. They figure they will just learn by trial and error. They are pretty impatient with classroom activity or reading manuals. They just want a few tips and then dive right in. These are action people. They don't like to sit around. They figure it's best to take action even if it's wrong. If it's wrong, they will take corrective action to fix the problem later. Most entrepreneurs are quick start dominant. A lot of quick start people are also in jail for taking shortcuts. So being a quick start person has its advantages and disadvantages. The second mode of operation is what the Colby Test calls a fact finder. Fact finder. This is really the opposite of the quick start. The fact finder wants all the information before they act. Fact finders are researchers. They won't make a decision until they are satisfied that they have a thorough understanding of all the options. A quick start person has no patience for this. A quick start person wants a solution right now, wants action right now. A company or organization that has all quick start people will be a very precarious place to work. These are the we need to do something even if it's wrong people. But a company dominated by fact finders will have a very tough time taking any action at all. The truth is you need both in your organization or on your team. Now there are two other modes of operation or types of people. The third category is what the Colby Test calls the follow-through person. These are the planners and systematizers. These are people who are happy to sit through a course and read a how-to manual before they set out to accomplish the job. And they are the ones who want a detailed plan of action before they act. These are different from the fact finders who are mainly information gatherers. Your follow-through person wants a detailed roadmap, while the quick start guy will often set out on the journey without a map. Follow-through people make good generals and good leaders of large corporations and organizations. They are the planners and systems people. The fourth and final category are the implementers. These are people who feel more comfortable with physical objects than with theory. They like to work with their hands. They are the people who can hook up your computer network or your phone system and fix your car. They are the guys who see heaven as a day at Home Depot looking at power tools. Surgeons also tend to be implementers. They are great at working with their hands. If you don't have any implementers in your company or organization, not much is going to get done either. You can't have just quick start people. You can't have just fact finders. You can't have just planners and systematizers. You also need the people who actually do the physical work, or your company, organization, or team will break down and become dysfunctional pretty quickly. The computers won't work. The elevator won't work. The phones won't work. The mail won't get sent out. The checkbook won't get balanced. Not much will happen without implementers. A football team needs players, implementers, not just coaches. Now, none of us are 100% of any of these categories. We're a mix. But we have a dominant mode of operation for how we tackle problems and deal with life. And it's important to know what dominant instinct we are. And by the way, this is very important. None of these categories are better than the other. All four categories are necessary if you want to have a successful business, organization, or team. Or frankly, if you want to run a household successfully. And you need to know what your dominant mode of operation is, your dominant MO is, so you can fill in and shore up the missing pieces and weak links in your business, organization, or team. Now, many entrepreneurs, as I've said, tend to be quick start people or follow-through people. The mistake entrepreneurs tend to make is to hire people who are a lot like they are, or they partner up with people who are like they are. And so what happens is you end up with a company full of quick start people, and that's not good. If you are a quick start person starting a business, you need to bring on a partner who is maybe a follow-through person, a planner, a systematizer. You also need a fact finder, and maybe mostly implementers. Why is this important? Well, if you make a quick start person your building engineer, you're going to have a very ineffective and unhappy employee on your hands. That person will be a fish out of water. And you can yell and scream at your quick start employee team member for making one screw up after another, but that won't make any difference. You will not see any improvement. That person is in the wrong job, the wrong role. In fact, I would say, as a general rule, quick start people don't make the best employees. Most entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs because they hate working for other people. They hate following orders. They don't like to fit in systems. They want to do things their own way. They want to blaze their own trail. My dominant MO, mode of operation, is quick start. My second most dominant MO, mode of operation, is follow through, which is the planning and systematizing mode of operation. So what I need around me are implementers and fact finders. Certainly not more quick start people. That's how you have a balanced company or organization. And that's how you make sure that you find the right role for yourself and find the right roles for others in your company, organization, or team. You won't succeed by putting square pegs into round holes. Now, why is this so essential? Well, because not only are fish happier in water, they perform best in water. So if you know what the dominant problem-solving mode of operation is for you and for everyone in your company or on your team or organization, you'll have a well-balanced, well-functioning company or organization full of happy people who are doing what they should be doing. Now, if you are a leader who is a quick start person, you want to be free to focus on what you do best, which is the idea generation activity, the visionary stuff, the big picture stuff. And then you want to delegate everything else to your follow-through generals, your fact-finders, and your implementers. Your follow-through people, who are your planners and systematizers, will help keep your quick-start creativity in check and let you know when your ideas are just not practical. And as a quick-start person, you don't want to be spending your day trying to figure out how to hook up the phone system or balance the books. So if you want to have a happy, well-functioning company, organization, or team, you need to take the Colby Test and have everyone in your organization take this test. This will tell you a lot about whether your company or organization is properly put together. If everyone in your organization is a quick start person, you'll need to make some adjustments, or you're headed for trouble and dysfunction. What I love about this test and the philosophy behind it is that you're free to be yourself, because frankly, you can't be anything but yourself. This test will show you how to best tackle problems, what your instincts are and what your mode of operation is, which you should not try to change, because that would be like telling the leopard to lose his spots. What I also love about this approach is that it goes directly against what we are told our entire lives. We're told all of our life that we have to work on what we can't do well. We're told to shore up on our weaknesses, to focus on our weaknesses and try to improve those. We're told to get everything done on our to-do list. Instead, what we need to be doing is focusing on what we do best, and then delegate everything else. Rihanna is a great singer, but for her to be successful, she also needs a manager. She needs someone to arrange her gigs, negotiate her contracts, and get her songs out there. Tom Brady's a great quarterback, but he needs a team around him. He also needs coaches, a stadium to play in, someone to schedule the games and set up the league. He needs an organization around him. So if you love football, there's a role for almost everyone in this enormous operation. Take my son, who wants to get involved in making movies. For a long time, he thought he wanted to be a movie director, but now his interest is narrowed. He's discovered that his ear is very sensitive to sound and music. He can't listen to music on anything but the best speakers and best headphones. His ear is so sensitive that he gets almost physically ill if the sound quality is off even the slightest bit. Now, I often can't hear the difference between one set of speakers and the other, but he sure can. So now he's leaning toward becoming a sound engineer, focusing perhaps on making soundtracks for movies or going into the music recording industry. The key to success and happiness, in my view, is to find the right role for you and then master it. That's how you become an indispensable member of a team. You want to be the person the rest of the team relies on and counts on, like quarterback Tom Brady of the New England Patriots. That's how you command a big salary with job security. But Brady's offensive linemen are also indispensable. He can't do what he does without them. You need to fit both your passion and your mode of operation, that is your natural way of doing things and solving problems, to a job that needs doing, and then strive to become the best in the world at that job. That's how you become indispensable, well paid, and happy in life. The more skill and specialized expertise a job requires, generally, the more money you will make. A brain surgeon makes more than a general practitioner, who makes more than a trash collector, unless you're the one who runs the trash collecting company. There are lots and lots of ways to make a living in this world. Pick a way that involves something that you love doing, an activity that you would be doing even if no one was paying you to do it. You can make a living doing almost anything. Well, maybe not collecting old socks, but you can make a living at doing lots of things. You can make a living in athletics, in music, art, fitness, solving puzzles like Sherlock Holmes, writing, building things, inventing things, in photography, teaching, research, software coding, making video games, politics, finance, medicine, storytelling, fishing, boating, and thousands of other activities and fields. Whatever your hobby or passion might be, there are likely tens of thousands or even millions of people who share the same passion for your hobby, which means there's a way to make a good living at doing your hobby. If your passion is golf, well, golf is a $70 billion industry in America. So there are all kinds of ways to make a great living, even to get rich in the golf industry, even if you're not all that good at golf. Eugene Fodor loved to travel, so he figured out how to make a living by writing travel guides. Actually, he got very rich doing this, from his passion to travel. The Fodor travel guides are the most famous travel guides out there. If your passion is dogs, well, the pet industry generates $60 billion a year in sales in America alone. So there are certainly many ways to make a living from your passion for dogs. There's really no reason to separate work from fun, from what you love doing. They can be one and the same thing. If your passion is politics, politics is one of America's largest industries. Government spending is more than 40% of the U.S. economy. Aside from the many billions of dollars spent on political campaigns every election cycle, there's all the news organizations covering the political campaigns and the activities of government. I have some good friends making terrific livings, actually getting quite rich by writing political blogs. They love to write on politics, so they get rich by doing that, by blogging. Once you've identified what you love doing, what gets you out of bed with a spring in your step each day because you can't wait to get to that activity, then the key is to work to become very good at that activity, to become world-class at that activity. The sooner you can figure out what you love doing, the better. So you can work on it now. The sooner you start to develop a skill, the better you'll get at it. Once again, here's where you go to take the Colby Test. This test will help you identify the kinds of skills, the kinds of jobs, projects, challenges, roles, and careers that fit your mode of operation and that would make you the happiest, so that you can be like a tiger in the forest instead of a fish out of water. Take that test right now.
Like the pine trees lining the winding road, I've got a name, I've got a name. Like a singing bird and the croaking toad, I've got a name.